Just be, just be, just be. There is no more doing. It's a mind that wants to do. Just be. All is consciousness. That is the next chapter. All is consciousness. Ellam bodhamayam. So far, Atmananda made it very clear in our inward journey itself that number one, these gross objects, these are nothing but thought. That's how he was bringing us one by one inwards. First, he said gross objects are nothing but thought. Means the computer is thought, furniture is thought, TV, room, yeah, even the person is thought. The entire world of objects is simply thought. Yeah? These world of objects come into my field of vision or sight. So the objects of sight is simply thought. The world of the objects of sound is simply thought. The world of the objects of smell, pleasant or unpleasant smell, is simply thought. The world of the objects of taste, pleasurable taste, not so pleasurable taste, is simply thought. So what did we have? First thing he brought us to, that the world is simply thought. Now, a thought arises. I perceive this world thought. What is this? This is also a thought. Can a thought perceive a thought? Is a thought conscious enough to perceive another thought? Yeah. Can this thought, that is saying, I perceive the world thought and the world thought, really exist at the same time? Can there be two perceptions at the same time? Can this thought exist inside that, or that thought exist inside this? Yes. No, thought is not conscious enough to know another thought. Thought cannot exist inside another thought. A thought, if it was really able to perceive, it would say hi to another thought, no? Have you ever seen thoughts saying hi, hello to each other? Then how can one thought say, I perceive the world? It is a fake thought. There is no perceiver, there is no perceived. Both perceiver and perceived are one and the same. Both are simply thoughts that arise one after the other in quick succession, such that they give me a feeling that they are happening together simultaneously. And there is some consciousness there. Let's dive deeply into this. Are the perceiver thought and the perceived thoughts different? Homework number 1. Yeah. Homework number 2 is the perceiver thought and the perceived thought made of different materials? Just because this perceiver thought is saying, I perceive the world thought, is this more conscious than that world thought? Are they made of different materials? No. Then third question, what is the stuff that they are made up of? Is it same? Yeah. Then Atmananda brought us to, thought is objectless. There is no stuff that thought is made up of. If I go to see, there is only awareness. There is no specific thing I can point out to and say, I guarantee that this is the material cause of the thought. Means the matter that thought is made of. I cannot point at something and say, this is the material cause of thought. So what is the nature of thought? It is objectlessness. This is where Atmananda got us in this inward journey. I'm just, again laying it down for you, how he got us inwards. Now, are you sure maybe thought is a subtle object. Maybe it is made of something subtle. Maybe 1 degree subtle, 1 gram subtle, 1 milliliter subtle. No, there is no measurement because there is nothing to measure. In my own direct experience, a thought is completely formless. That which is devoid of form cannot be measured. Yes, Maya is that which can be measured. Yes, I cannot measure thought. It is Maya, that which cannot be measured. Oh, till now I always thought thought is Maya. Now he's taking us deeper. He's saying thought is not a gross object. Thought is not a subtle object. Thought is objectless. Means there is no object that I can find there. If there is no object that I can find there, there is no nama rupa. There is no form. There is no form, I cannot measure it. That which cannot be measured is not Maya, it's Maya. Till now I thought that this world is a thought and it is Maya. Now you're saying it's Maya. Yes, now do you see? Party badlu. The party has changed. Yeah. So on the inward journey, everything is Maya. The moment I recognize everything is Brahman, that which was Maya has now been recognized as Maya, that which cannot be measured. So it is not Maya. So what does it mean? Is Jagat not Mithya? There is no Jagat, he is saying. What Mithya? For Mithya to be there, that is a label. The object that you have to put the label on, that should exist, no? The world is a thought. Thought is objectless, means it is Maya, not Maya. Objectlessness means it does not have astitva, it does not exist. The tiger in the dream does not exist. How can you even call it Maya? It does not exist. It never happened. It's objectless. Now you understand the meaning of Maya. Yes? Only in the Jagat Mithya journey do you understand the true meaning of Maya. Oh, there is no world. There are no objects. This is all Maya. I saw it as Maya when I saw myself as this physical body. When I put the label of an object to myself, I put the label of objects and different labels I put. And then some objects were real and some objects were illusory. Because there was the idea of a world existing there. Now that I recognize everything is Brahman, there is no world. So where is the question of Maya? So thought is not a subtle object, thought is not a gross object, thought is objectless. Objectless means there is no object that I can find there. Clear? So far is very clear. Now what was my real nature? I did the inward journey and I recognized my true nature. What was my real nature? Objectlessness. Yes, pure awareness, consciousness. Oh, thought is objectlessness. I am objectlessness. So are we two objectlessnesses there? Two infinities? Is it possible? Two infinities? Not possible. Oh, this is all one. This is all one. It's all nothingness. Just like that abstract painting where there is only color. But I had put objects there, labels of objects there, and created a personal world out of color. There is no world out there. There are no objects out there. Now let me change the lens and see this world as simply what it is. Removing the white pebbles from the rice, let me just look at the rice as it is. Aha, thought, objectlessness. My real nature, objectlessness. Thought is simply me. Simply consciousness, no thingness, my real nature. So sometimes I say, that when there are lots of thoughts, that's when I slip. I'm not in my real nature. Is it possible? Thoughts are my real nature, and I slip in thoughts, and that time I'm not in my real nature. Is it even possible? Yeah. So it's an incorrect statement to say when there are lots of thoughts, I am not in my real nature. Wrong idea. White pebble alert. White pebble alert. Yes. So when there are thoughts, I'm in my real nature. When there are no thoughts, I'm in my real nature. Is this clear? Yeah. When there are thoughts, there is simply objectlessness. When there are no thoughts, there is simply objectlessness. When there is the waking state, it is simply objectlessness. Yeah? Rip off these labels. When there is the dream state, there is simply objectlessness. I am always in absolute reality because I am absolute reality. There is only absolute reality. There is no separate I and separate it, which I was labeling as the world. It never was. No, it is all absolute reality. Same objectlessness. Yes. Simple. So the labels of perception, sensation, thought, feeling have to be ripped off at this state. All is consciousness. Ellam bodhamayam. All is consciousness. Yes. So perception, sensation, thought, feeling are objectlessness itself. The idea that I had earlier is to consider them separate. Yeah? That was my fundamental mistake. Yes? Has this fundamental mistake been erased yet? I have to work on this next homework question. Yeah? When this fundamental mistake is completely erased by ripping off all these labels from that abstract painting, then it becomes evident there is only color on that painting. There is only the absolute reality. There was never a perceiver and a perception. There was never a sensor and a sensation. There was never a feeler and a feeling. There was never a thinker and a thought. There was never a knower and the known. All were labels that were put on that abstract painting. I have to just rip off these labels. So when one says, I know an object, both the knower and the known disappear actually. Because moment to moment, everything disappears. Moment to moment, everything disappears. And what remains is only knowledge. Isn't this your experiential recognition? Moment to moment, everything is disappearing. Every thought, every feeling, every sensation, every perception, it's disappearing. It's being sucked into that black hole of nothingness. That is me. There is only that absolute reality, me. Yes? So the knower known gets sucked in and there is only knowledge. Mind comes up later and labels these objects again of knowledge. Yes? So now we are going to start ignoring the mind. Yes, it's a thought, it came and it disappears back. Ignore it now. Yeah, simply rip off all these labels of objects and recognize there is only knowledge. So your main homework this week is to recognize, can I see this is only knowledge? This is not world. This is only knowledge. Yes, with the spouse, with the parents, with the kids, with friends, with enemies. This is only knowledge. At work, at home, at the grocery store. This is only knowledge. With the most beloved assets that you have, whether it's money, the bank balance, whether it's your jewelry, whether it's your most you really love gadgets or things like that. This is only knowledge. If this is your experiential recognition, if you will now experientially recognize what Atmananda says in verse 1. You say, I know an object. We have come to this recognition, everything is absolute reality, everything is knowledge. Yeah? And you say, I know an object. Both the knower and the known disappear, and what remains? Knowledge. Now you say, oh, knowledge is knowing itself. So Atmananda says, knowledge has nothing to know. The insentient can never know, being insentient. Are you seeing this? Yeah, now knowledge is separated out from the knower and the known. And knowledge stands alone as objectlessness. It is pure. It is absolute reality. There is no way that this absolute reality that is insentient can know. Knowledge has nothing to know. And you have to recognize this moment to moment to moment. There is no knowing happening here. There is knowledge, period. It stops there. The mind comes in and says, oh, now knowledge knows knowledge. Another label I am putting on it. On absolute reality, the mind comes up and is putting new labels. Yeah. Knowledge has been reduced to objectlessness, no? Objectlessness is insentient. You understand the word insentient? Incapable of feeling or understanding. That is the meaning of insentient. Knowledge has already been reduced down to objectlessness now. How can objectlessness be sentient? How can objectlessness know, feel, or understand? Yes, are you getting this verse? Now you have to make an effort to see this. There is no knowledge knowing knowledge here. That is story of the mind. Knowledge is, period. Clear? Mind does not like that, huh? Okay, knowledge is. It wants to create a story now. Okay, knowledge is knowing knowledge then. If there is no I, if there's just absolute reality, if there's just objectlessness, and this objectlessness is knowledge, okay, so knowledge is knowing knowledge. There's no knower and known. Mind wants to create a story. Yeah? It doesn't create just stories in your personal world at home and at work. It creates stories on the spiritual path also. Yeah? So I'll repeat that again. There is no knower and known. Knower and known dissolve. And there is only knowledge. Moment to moment I see it. Yes, perception is a thought. Perceiver is also a thought. The I is the perceiver, that is a thought. The I says, I know this. That this is also a thought. It's a perception. And moment to moment I see perception disappears. It is sucked into the black hole of nothingness. The I is sucked into the black hole of nothingness. So the knower and known have been reduced to knowledge. They get reduced to knowledge moment to moment. And knowledge is nothing but objectlessness. Can I find that knowledge is made of some object? What is the object? What is the material cause of knowledge? What is the matter it is made of? Nothing. There is no object I can point out to. Knowledge is objectlessness. And objectlessness is insentient. Insentient means it's incapable of feeling, knowing, understanding, thinking. Are you getting it? Insentient. Objectless is insentient. So knowledge has nothing to know. This is a story that the mind comes up when you say everything is just knowledge. There is no world out there. There is simply knowledge. There are no objects in that color. It is simply color. You made objects out of that abstract art. Super clear? Yes? So knowledge has nothing to know. The insentient can never know. Being insentient. So there is no knower. There is no known. And knowledge can never know. What does this imply? This implies that no one knows anything. There is simply pure consciousness. That is what Atmananda says in verse 2. No, these are just 2 verses. They are very profound, huh? They are very potent. You have to start seeing that in your day-to-day. This so-called world, this that I called world. Yeah, first I have to reduce this so-called world only to knowledge. This, the one who is perceiving the world, I have to reduce this to so-called knowledge. Now I see knowledge is objectless. Knowledge, that which is objectless, cannot be sentient. It is insentient. It does not know. So knower doesn't know, known doesn't know, knowledge doesn't know. No one knows anything. There is only pure consciousness. There is only Brahman. There is no world. Yeah? That is verse 2. Everything and everyone is pure consciousness. In fact, at this level, it would be even incorrect to say everything and everyone. Because there is no every. There is no possibility of every. This is just the mind that has to formulate it into some words. So it is saying everyone and everything. From the level of awareness, from the level of consciousness, the Sanskrit word is ananya. There is no other. Ananya. Therefore, no one knows anything. And all beings stand established as pure consciousness. Means all that I'm saying, things, people, situations, everything is nothing but pure consciousness. They were labels that I had put on the abstract art and created a world out of that abstract art. But truly, painter says it's only color. Yes? Another way to see it, it would be there is no one to know anything. There is no other. Only pure consciousness is. Yeah. May you come to this recognition soon. Knowledge is nothing but objectlessness. Objectless is nothing but consciousness. Consciousness is nothing but the subjective I principle, which is experience itself. There is no two. There is no two. Advaita. All you need to do is to get rid of that assumed bondage, the white pebble. You have an assumed bondage that I am different from reality. You cannot be different from reality. You cannot be separate from reality. Whenever that thought arises, reject it. Ignore it. Yes, this is your biggest job. You cannot be different from reality, because then you would become super powerful, more powerful than reality itself. Yeah? You would be the devil incarnate. You are not. You cannot be separate from reality. So reject every thought that says I am different from reality. Super clear? So then we'll end the session here. Hopefully you got the chapter. It was a very quick chapter, 10-minute chapter. I knew it would be done quickly. That's why I did the whole experience sharing first, to see if you really see this as knowledge. So you know that you still have that little story, knowledge, knowing knowledge. Yeah? That's what you work on next. There is no knowledge, knowing knowledge. There simply is pure consciousness. There is no world out there. There is simply pure consciousness. So see, now first he taught you that it knows, it is the knowingness itself. In the inward journey, whatever we learn, in the outward journey, we unlearn it. Yeah? Whatever we call Maya becomes Maya. Whatever we thought as knowing, oh, now there is not knowing also. There is no knowing. Yeah? Knowledge cannot know. There is knowledge. Period. You get it? There is nobody to know anything. No one knows anything. And everything is simply pure consciousness. Mull over this. Contemplate on this. Chew on it. Don't jump to a conclusion, I already know this. You don't. You don't. Yeah? You recognize it again and again and again. There is no knowledge knowing knowledge. Knowledge cannot know. Knowledge is. Period. Can I stop at that? Rest is story created by the mind. I have to move away from story creation.